Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Monday night. I was about to say Monday Night Football. I can't say that. This is not Monday Night Football. We are watching Monday Night Football right now. 2 games going on. Monday Night Fantasy Football today. There we go. Adam Azer with Tara Roberts and Heath Cummings. And it's 3-0 Panthers. So we all get to watch some football together for a little while. And we have the Browns and the Steelers coming up later. And holy cow, Heath, Amari Cooper's playing. It is so rare that Schefter would say he's not expected to play, and then he actually plays. Did we make a mistake telling people to sit him?
I think we might have been saved from ourselves. I'm not sure I would have wanted to play Amari Cooper in this spot anyway. And I know we make the jokes about Amari Cooper on the road, and it's not really a joke. He's just been terrible on the road, and that doesn't actually impact my projections, but it's still true. But also, Deshaun Watson has not yet proven to me that he is good yet. And you've got a Mike Tomlin team that's sitting at 0-1 at home on Monday night. I don't think there's any way the Browns are putting up a big number.
How are we doing there, Tara? How's fantasy football treating you?
It's treating me good. I oddly enough started Amari Cooper. I didn't mean to. I've like way too many leagues and kind of missed him in one. So we'll see how that goes with him. But yeah, I would not have. I think Heath is right. We probably saved ourselves right there from mass recommending, because this game could be kind of ugly.
I am pretty irritated because I'm facing someone who accidentally started Amari Cooper. And I thought they were going to take a 0 in that spot. I really thought I had a pretty good chance, and that was disappointing.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm playing Schneier in a league. I have like a 70-point lead, but he has 4 players left, and one of them I think is Jonathan Mingo. So if Jonathan Mingo does something in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be really mad, and you'll know why. All right, so let's answer some questions here. Would you guys drop Jahan Dotson?
I would not. Not right now.
Not assuming you're in a 12-team league, I would not either.
Okay. Let's see. Should I drop Gibson for Allen Robinson or Jerome Ford before the game, or hold and hope that man, I don't like those leagues where you can drop a player after he already played, but Gibson feels kind of droppable. Would you guys drop him for either of those two?
I mean, who's your RB 4 or 5? I mean, I guess it just depends on. I don't think that he has any more upside than Jerome Ford. And then for Allen Robinson, I guess it just depends on if you absolutely need him. He'll have a nice floor for the next 4 weeks, unfortunately. But there's not a ton of upside there. So if you need a nice floor wide receiver, yeah, maybe. But I would hold on to him otherwise.
I do think there's like a I don't know, 20-25% chance that Allen Robinson comes out and earns 10 targets tonight and is the target leader for the Steelers. So I think I'd make that move. I don't have a whole lot of. I agree with you, Adam. I think it's absolutely gross and awful that these leagues exist where you can drop somebody after they played. It's just, I hate it. But if everybody else gets to do it, yeah.
What are you guys doing about Cam Akers, by the way, if you have him? Probably going to get traded, it seems.
I mean, that's what we thought last time. So, I mean, I feel like we've been here before in this exact same situation.
I just saw something on my phone, so I'll look into it. It said Sean McVay said that they're likely to trade him, but I'll make sure that it's like a reputable source. It should be, but
so what? Like that was the thing. Somebody said to me today. I had mentioned the Vikings have 2 rushing first downs in their first 2 games combined. And they said a good place for Cam Akers. Maybe. I don't know who Cam Akers is definitely better than. He's not better than Kyron Williams. I wasn't sure last year he was better than Darrell Henderson for half the year. I don't think I was thinking about the Colts if they traded Jonathan Taylor, but is he better than Zach Moss? I don't know.
Well, they are. It seems like they are clearly talking to teams and trying to trade him. So
they get a 6th and give somebody their 7th.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But are you okay dropping him, or do you want to wait and see how it plays out?
I would drop Gibson before I drop him.
Yeah, I agree with that, because as we saw, we haven't seen Gibson come back and kind of overtake Brian Robinson, but we have seen Akers come back and literally go immediately back into the RB1 role weeks after being reasserted onto the team. So it's such a weird situation.
And Thomas Schaefer tells me in the private messages that the Vikings do not want Cam Akers, so that deal is off the table.
We representing. We got the report that it looks like a 3-week absence for Saquon Barkley with an ankle sprain. So that would be San Francisco on Thursday. And then the Seahawks in week 4, and week 5 is Miami. So San Francisco, Seattle, Miami. That's one terrible matchup. Yes, I know what the Rams just did. But anyway, are you interested in a Giants running back? And if so, who?
Yeah, I mean, I have Matt Breida on my waiver wire list, and he'll move up a tiny bit. But you're right. I mean, I would not start him at all against San Francisco. There's very few scenarios outside of extremely deep leagues that I would do that. But then there are a couple of soft matchups, and it seems like he's the one that's in line. I would lean that direction, and maybe you can play him as a low-end flex option. It's worth adding him just to see.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to make any priority about it. I'm not going to bid like more than maybe 3 or 4%. But if I happen to have him on my roster, we'll see what happens. You're not going to start him against San Francisco, and then whatever terrible thing happens on Thursday against San Francisco, I can't imagine you're going to start him the next week. So then maybe you get to start him once before Barkley comes back.
Well, I mean, look, if one of the, and here's the thing, I was very much, it's Breida, but then I went back and I looked at what happened last year when Barkley didn't play, and that was week 18 and week 13 or week 14. He came into that game hurt and he played 31% of the snaps. Gary Brightwell actually did outcarry Breida in both games. Breida, though, had a lot of catches in week 18. Breida had 8 targets and 7 catches in week 18. That was a game where the Giants sat their starters. So that gave me a little bit of hesitation that it was even going to be Breida, that it would be a split.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not certain at all.
Right. I don't think it's going to be the rookie Gray. So I think it's going to – I guess I'd prefer Breida. But I think if one of them got, 15 touches against the 49ers, even if they did horribly, might give you some confidence to start them in week 4 against Seattle.
And I wouldn't be that surprised if they struggle early in that game, if they give a series to the rookie and just see. Like they know what Matt Breida and Gary Brightwell are.
Yeah.
That's true.
They're in trouble.
That's true.
All right. What's the worryometer on Dameon Pierce?
11.
Yeah, it's super high. It's super high, unfortunately. That line, it wouldn't be so bad. I'm not opposed to bad running backs, to bell cow running backs on bad teams. That's perfectly fine. But the problem is he's not a bell cow. The snap count is not there. The volume is not there. He's not getting that James Conner type of workload. He doesn't have the receiving upside of a Rashad White. So just the value just isn't there for him. So yeah, it's about as high as you can get with him.
This was the first week in projections where I kind of started factoring in some of the run pass splits and stuff that we've seen so far in 2023. And man, the Texans are like, it's hard to project them to throw a few of them 40 times this week. Yeah. They're a huge underdog. They've been just winging it all over the place. The thing that's so great for Nico and for Tank Dell is just disastrous for Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, they've dropped back 54 times in each of their first 2 games, or maybe it's 52 times. They're running a very fast-paced offense. We talked about it a lot on Beyond the Box Score today. Check it out. Let's see. Elijah Moore or George Pickens tonight? Oh, we have a tonight question. That's fun.
Pickens.
Yeah, I would go with Pickens. Although I still think Elijah Moore might have more upside than Amari Cooper, but Pickens.
Yes, I would go Pickens and then Moore and then Cooper. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the Chargers have the Vikings next week. A couple of 0-2s. Is that right?
Yes, in Minnesota, 54 over under. The Vikings are 1-point favorites.
All right, let's do it. Will he bounce back if he's the guy again next week? Will Josh Kelly bounce back?
Yes.
I had him ranked as a low end number 2. Yeah, low end number 2 next week.
Yeah. It was just a bad matchup. It really was.
And I'm a little scared. Kirk Cousins came out number 1 in the projections this week.
Wow.
He's going to throw it 45 times against the Chargers, and they're bad.
He's going to throw it. Yeah, it's weird. He might just have a really great season. But why didn't he have such a great season last year? It was the same situation. They weren't a good running team last year, and he threw the ball a ton.
They did run it a lot more than they have so far this year, though.
Yeah. Well, they
And
won.
more successfly.
Those these splits last year, man, they ran so much more when they won compared to lost.
And it's the Chargers, so they might win.
They might win. All right, Henry, Kyron, and Connor in PB. Yeah, you're going Derrick Henry here.
It's a good group to have.
Are the Titans playing the 85 Bears? Is that why they're playing Cleveland? Fine.
Yeah.
Maybe he was asking who's number 2.
Okay.
And it's Connor for me. Yeah.
I think it's pretty close to a coin flip. I've got Kyron just ahead.
The topic came up today. Would you rather have Kyron Williams or Damian Pierce rest of season?
Kyron.
Yeah, Kyron.
Would you trade CeeDee Lamb for Cooper Kupp and Drake London? No.
I don't know if I could do that in good conscience with worry in terms of when Kupp is actually coming back.
It's much closer if I'm 2-0.
Yeah.
Can I write an open letter to the Jets? You should really, dear Jets, you should think about moving Sauce Gardner around defensively. When you play a team that has one receiver and you don't shadow him with your best quarterback, who you probably think is one of the best cornerbacks in football, you should probably think about it. I mean, just come on. It was so obvious. Who else are they going to throw to? Move the guy around. Didn't you learn anything from the Packers last year? Week 1, Justin Jefferson goes off, and Jair Alexander says, come on, move me, let me shadow guys. And they learned from it. Now the Jets need to do the same thing. Let's see. Allen Robinson or Amari Cooper?
Well, it depends on what you need, really.
That's a very good point. Like, do you need 6 points to secure the victory, or do you need 20? 20, I'd probably go Cooper. 6, I'd go Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Is it time to roster Matthew Stafford in the hope of Cooper Kupp coming back? I think he's worth rostering. I mean,
yeah, he just doesn't have that upside, really. There's so many other guys that you could roster that can realistically get top 5 numbers on a more regular basis.
I think it just depends on how many quarterbacks are rostered in your league. But if it's like 18, I would say no.
CJ Stroud or Russell Wilson rest of season?
Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Would you trade Fields and Metcalf for Hurts and Madison?
That's very close.
If I was deep at wide receiver and terrible at running back, I might.
Yeah, if you're secure at running back.
I'm pretty scared of the way Justin Fields has looked the first 2 weeks. And the fact that they're just not designing run plays for him. Like, if they're going to force him to do this, it might be awful.
Yeah. Schneier put a clip up on Twitter of him missing. You saw that, right? Just not throwing. He had time to open guys, didn't throw to either one. And then, of course, he took a sack. Just, you know what? Just start running. Just forget it. Just forget the whole passing.
No, they said that that was the thing. It was part of that thread. What they played yesterday was double spy. They had a linebacker on each side of the field spying Justin Fields when he dropped back. And they're like, we'll see if you can find the open receiver. We're not going to let you scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you add the Jaguars DST or the Chiefs DST? Oh, I'm thinking the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Let's see. I don't know what this was about, but I appreciate it. Hopefully it was my Sauce Gardner thing. I'm on that rant right now. Would you trade Dotson for Madison?
I can't do that.
I think it's fine if you really need a running back. Like, if you just lost Saquon, I think it's fine.
Oh boy, the Panthers just lost Shaq Thompson. That's a big loss for them on defense. Stud linebacker.
Oh
no. Let's see. Sky Moore or Jaden Reed rest of season?
I think at the end of the day, Jaden Reed will be the one that comes out on top.
I'd lean that way. I mean, the answer is probably neither, but let's say Jaden Reed.
Okay. Half PPR, Kelsey or Hawkinson and Puka Nacua.
How high is too high to rank this guy? Like, we've never seen anything like this.
Actually, I just saw this stat today. The last wide receiver to begin his career with consecutive 100-yard games.
Okay.
Will Fuller. You do
Okay.
not want to know how the rest of the season went.
Well, he did not earn 30 targets in those first 2 games. I'll promise you.
It wasn't this good. It wasn't this
right.
good.
Yeah.
I think I would probably keep the Kelsey side, but it's fair.
I'm okay with making the trade because I'm getting more and more convinced that Hawk is a lot closer to Kelsey than anybody else.
Then more than Andrews?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've got Hawkinson ahead of Andrews this week.
Okay. Kelsey, by the way, limited snaps in week 2, something like 65%. I could also do Metcalf for Kyron. I don't think so. I don't think I'm doing that.
I'd rather have Kyron Williams than Metcalf.
I would, but I think with the name value for DK, you could aim a little bit higher than that.
So, I mean, it's pretty interesting with Kyron Williams. This guy came into the league with the label of being a third down back, right? He wasn't a great athlete or anything. I think he ran a pretty slow 40, but that was his thing.
He was a good production player, bad testing player, correct?
Maybe, but I think he was supposed to be a third down back. It was like, that was his thing. His longest run so far this year is 9 yards. Doesn't have a ton of carries, and he played the Niners, but he hasn't done anything great as a rusher yet. The catches were really eye-opening last week, but that's just not what we usually see from Rams running backs. So, you think you know where I'm going with this. I'm wondering if this is the peak of Kyron Williams' value. We're starting to talk about him for DK Metcalf, who, by the way, I know he didn't put up great numbers, but he missed a pretty big chunk of week 2, and he almost scored a touchdown, which is kind of like they throw him near the end zone all the time. I think I still like DK. If I'm doing a draft right now, I'm taking DK Metcalf over Kyron Williams the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although I'm not opposed to it. You can aim a little bit higher than DK. I will say, I feel like we might be underestimating what Sean McVay might have done to tweak the offense a little bit. Because aside from Matt Stafford being healthy, just generally overall, it looks a lot better and just slightly different than last year. And maybe the targets to the running back do stick.
Yeah, I think that's possible. But my biggest thing I think, Adam, here is that you were drafting DK 2 rounds before I was before the season, and so maybe those 2 rounds is how far apart we are, and Kyron's in the middle.
I thought Metcalf was going too early. He was like a mid-third round pick. I liked him more mid to late round 4, maybe around 45th or so overall.
Okay, so I was around 5, round 6 guy. So,
yeah, and I think so far JSN just hasn't really had an impact on him. That could change, but so far those rookies for the Seahawks haven't really impacted the veterans.
The argument wasn't that JSN was going to be my argument wasn't that JSN was going to be the wide receiver 1 on this team the first half of the year. It was that he was going to be in the second half. I don't think he's had an 18% target share in his first 2 games playing with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. That's pretty spectacular.
All right. Let's see. Do we have any information on Jonathan Taylor? Should we hold him or look to trade him?
For me, I am holding because, there's 2 outcomes here. Anthony Richardson looks great. Maybe the Colts just kind of say, we got to make this work because look at the division we play in. We theoretically can be competitive and could make a playoff push, and Jonathan Taylor on our team would be a lot more attractive in terms of bringing that upside. Or they feel okay in letting him go and bring down the asking price, and realistically he goes to a contender. So, I would hold him. I think that, at this point, if you drafted him, you'll be able to use him by mid-ish October at least, I think.
I think Taylor, Kupp, and now Barkley all a similar conversation. The only benefit of Taylor and Kupp is that you can put them in the IR stash. But if I've got a losing record, I am probably dealing. If I've got a winning record, I am holding. And I'm planning on looking this week to see if I've got any 2-0 teams that I can find an 0-2 Jonathan Taylor or an 0-2 Cooper Kupp or an 0-2 Saquon Barkley and get that deal done.
That's a great idea. Should I start Cousins over Watson rest of season, or is it still week to week? And my follow-up would be, can we tell you in 3 hours?
Yeah, it's Deshaun Watson's going to have a really special night for this to be a conversation anymore.
Yeah, week to week right now. We got to see what's going on.
I mean, I still a little open-minded here about it being week to week. Cousins has been in his career like a better version of Derek Carr. You know, he's kind of always just listen. Carr is always like QB 18, right? He's always right. He can't break that ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Cousins he's had some good years, but for the most part, he's QB 10 to 12 because he doesn't run.
Right.
Watson could run for 500 to 600 yards this year. That makes this a conversation. So let's see what he does.
I think I might be buying in more, and it's because of like the way the first 2 weeks have gone. I think this might be the best statistical season of Kirk Cousins' career.
Yeah.
The fact that he's got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson and a coach that wants him to throw it 45 times a game and a defense that can't stop anybody. I think he might lead the league in passing yards.
I'm thinking about trading Swift away for James Conner. What are your thoughts?
I don't think I would.
I'm okay with it, but I am a lot higher on Connor than a lot of people. I don't know. I love what I saw out of Swift, but the thing is that we know he can't sustain that workload. He never has. So you just kind of got to figure how long is that going to last? Are they really veering away from a committee that aggressively?
Yeah, I think they're very almost identical. They both could have a top 5 stretch, and it shouldn't really surprise anybody. And I don't have any confidence either one of them can play 17 games at a huge workload. I would take the younger guy on the better offense, but I don't have confidence. I agree. I don't think if you can go get an RB1 for Swift, do it.
Should I trade Christian Kirk and Hunter Henry for Chris Godwin?
Yeah, probably.
Okay with
that. What's going on with Zay Jones? Is his knee okay?
I thought so. He came
Doug
back.
Peterson said today they were monitoring it.
Should I trade away Amon-Ra St. Brown for Jamar Chase?
Yeah,
I would not. I would not.
Okay, I get it, but I'm gonna. Yeah,
I don't think I would. I'm nervous about Burrow missing time. We'll see how this week goes, but this calf injury is starting to creep me out a little bit. Let's see what we got.
I wish you'd just take a week, off. Probably be fine. Just don't practice or play for a week and a half.
But he missed. What did he miss? 6 weeks in the offseason? He missed something like that. Right? Does Tara have any buy lows or sell high suggestions going into week 3?
Ooh, I do actually. I might be working on that right now. Chris Godwin was one of those guys, so that's why I was okay with that Chris Godwin trade. Josh Jacobs. I think a lot of people are panicking a little bit and thinking this Raiders offense is awful and we're just not going to see that RB1 level of production out of Josh Jacobs. And they kind of forget that he literally got off to this exact same start last year. It was like almost to the exact same identical stats. He is a bell cow running back, a true 3 down back. And the Raiders aren't going to veer away from using him that way. So there is upside coming. He's definitely someone who I would have as an RB1 on my team. So if someone in your league is panicking, thinking that he's just not putting out that level of production that he's going to do compared to last year, 100%. That's somebody who I'm very willing to go grab.
Amen.
It's funny about Jacobs. I can't really think of any running backs drafted after him because in my mind, it's so hard to know what his ADP really was. But in my mind, he was somewhere around RB10. Kind of late round 2 after Chubb, Henry, who was that third guy in that group? Whatever it was. Like before Joe Mixon and Jahmyr Gibbs and Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know who you're taking in ETN, I don't know. Would you take any of those guys ahead of Jacobs at this point? That would be that group of 4: Mixon, Gibbs, ETN, Stevenson.
Maybe ETN because of the level of, now granted, this week was kind of awful, but we did at least see the receptions kind of pick up with him. So that could inspire some confidence there. But I just can't veer away from a guy that I know is going to play consistently 70-80% of snaps and be a true 3-down back.
Yeah, I think I'm a lot more worried about Ramondre Stevenson than I am Josh Jacobs. I think he's gone more the opposite direction than Jacobs has for me. So, and Mixon has just kind of stagnant. I would still take Jacobs over all those guys. I agree with Tara that ETN's the top of that group you just said.
All right, what is Calvin Ridley's trade value in Dynasty? I've been negotiating him and a pick for Saquon Barkley.
Well, talk for a second, Tara, and I'll pull up my most recent Dynasty trade chart. Oh, for Saquon Barkley.
Now, you don't want to
that is
No.
let's pause on that one.
I don't know.
Negotiations.
You're saying you want the Ridley side there, right? Because I don't know which side he has, but you'd rather have Ridley than Barkley, right? In Dynasty?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the spreadsheet's a little bit slow. I actually have it now to where I don't know if I've said this before on the YouTube, Adam, but my Dynasty trade charts, both Superflex and one quarterback, are on Sportsline and they get updated every week.
Oh, cool.
So you can go look at these things if you have a subscription to Sportsline. Saquon was ahead of Ridley for me going into this week, but they were really, really close. I would not give up a pick with him for Saquon.
Okay, but that should at least give you an idea of his dynasty value. I mean, he's still got a lot of value. Let's see. Would you rather have Puka Nacua or Calvin Ridley?
I'm doing tomorrow on FFT Dynasty. I have Jacob Gibbs on, and the first 15 minutes of the show, I'm just going to let him do Puka Nacua victory laps, and we're going to go through all of his old tweets and old takes about Puka Nacua, and then he's going to help me rank him because I have no idea how you rank. Like, I'll say Ridley, but I'm not certain.
Listen, Dave sent me something today. It's Puka Nacua's splits man versus zone, and he is a million times better so far against zone than man, and he was better in college against zone than man.
It's so good for him. About 70% of snaps are against zone.
All right, but there will be some teams that play more man, so it's worth bringing up if that would be some type of adjustment that the defenses can make against Puka Nacua. All right, let's get to a next one. Would you trade Garrett Wilson and DK Metcalf for Jamar Chase and Cole Kmet?
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay. 10-team super flex. How do I value quarterbacks for trade? 6 point for passing touchdown. What can I get for Justin Fields?
No worse than a first-round player in a one quarterback league.
Okay.
Yeah. For one quarterback or super flex?
I'm saying like the guys who would normally be drafted in the first round in a one quarterback league, those are the guys who are of equal value to Justin Fields in a super flex.
Got it. Yeah.
Ugh, here comes Taysom Hill. What tier of wide receiver gets you Stevenson or Jacobs in a trade?
I think that DK tier, honestly, when you're looking at Stevenson in particular. And I feel like the perceived value on Jacobs is really low right now as well. That's when we were looking at that DK and Kyron Williams trade. I was saying you can aim a little bit higher just because of that perception of those guys that are clocking in at kind of that mid wide receiver 2, in my opinion.
Okay, so this sounds ridiculous probably, but you have Ramondre Stevenson and somebody sends you Puka Nacua.
I'm keeping Stevenson.
You're keeping Stevenson. I would definitely keep Jacobs. I'm not. So you're not concerned. You're not concerned about Stevenson at all.
Well, I will be honest with you and say I did not draft Stevenson in any leagues except the one league that you and I share. And I was like, all right, it was like our last draft. So I don't have any Stevenson. I think you may have made the pick. I don't remember, but I was fine. I was happy about it because I didn't have him on any teams. I don't know. I think they were in the hurry up at the time. but he did have a goal line touchdown last night. And that was the only thing that really concerned me about Zeke, because Zeke is obviously not good anymore. So no, he's still really involved in the passing game. I mean, he had 5 or 6 catches in week 1. He didn't have as many yesterday, but he's still that guy.
He's got a 9% target share in the first 2 games of the season.
I mean, they are throwing the ball a ton. So it hasn't, I mean.
They threw a lot to Zeke in the first game. Like, I feel like that was a weird anomaly. Zeke actually, I think he had maybe 1 more target than Stevenson did. Yeah. And I don't know if that that might have been a weird anomaly that kind of threw it off.
I was predisposed to expect Stevenson's targets to disappear because of that stat that I gave all summer. And so that first little sign, I think maybe I'm more scared of the target share dip and the fact that he's been terribly inefficient too.
Yeah. I mean, they had some offensive line injuries. I don't remember. I mean, I think maybe only 1 guard was out last night. I'm not sure, but that was week 1 was bad. I don't know. I'm going Stevenson. I still think he's basically a bell cow running back, and there just aren't that many of those. Does Adam have any books to recommend that are good for holding up computers? And actually, you'll be happy to know we have replaced the books with a shoebox. So we have a shoebox now holding up my microphone. Do we sell high on Mike Evans? This feels like a book to me.
I would. I mean, when you're looking at Mike Evans is wide receiver 4 right now in PPR. Chris Godwin is wide receiver 40 something. They have to both kind of come in a little bit. Realistically, it can't stick right there. So while I do still think that Mike Evans might end up being the alpha throughout the entire season in that offense, statistically, as we were maybe thinking it would kind of be the opposite way with Baker Mayfield, this is probably the high point right here. So I would be fine with it.
Yeah, I wonder, trying to think, you probably can't get Chase with Evans, but you might be able to get Chase with Evans and a bench piece.
Would you trade him for Calvin Ridley?
I don't know. I've not.
Sorry, even.
I've seen a lot of Trevor Lawrence these first 2 weeks, and I have not seen a lot to be excited about.
The Chiefs' defense is really good, I think. Really good.
Maybe.
I feel like we need 1 more week because we know
at least
we know Indianapolis's defense is horrific against the pass, right? We know that for a fact. And we know that Kansas City's defense against the pass is fairly good. I want to see some kind of middle ground right here to really get a feel for what's going on, because they face 2 very polar opposite situations.
It will be interesting because they play Houston this week, I think.
They do.
And Gardner Minshew and Anthony Richardson combined for 35 fantasy points. So it will be interesting to see how Lawrence does against them.
Yeah, I would take Ridley over Evans. I mean, Evans has faced the Vikings and the Bears. It's just, I don't know. The Giants would be the only other team I think that rivals those teams in matchups. I think I may have gone a little crazy with the Chiefs defense. I don't know if they're really good, but they might be really good. This might be their best defense in a long time. Would you sell high on Rachaad White or hold? I am lacking wide receivers.
So,
yeah. I don't mind holding, but if you're lacking wide receivers, that's okay.
Would you buy low on Jahan Dotson? Or no, sorry. Would you trade Dotson for buy low running back?
I
don't know if right now is the right time. Yeah.
No.
Would you sell him for Madison?
I think we just had that question, didn't we?
Yeah, I think
literally that question.
I think Heath said no and Tara said yes.
I think Tara said no, and I said yes if you need a running back.
Oh, okay. That had to be at least 10 minutes ago, or I would have remembered. Is Kyle Pitts droppable for Laporta?
No.
No, but I would rather start Laporta than Kyle Pitts. That's
Listen, I'm no fan of the spike drop, and I advise against it at all times. I understand if you have to. If ever anyone was going to get spike dropped, it'd be Kyle Pitts. Maybe this is your 3rd year in a row.
Taysom Hill, 1st and goal from the 4. And here he comes. Fantasy point vulture, loses 2 yards. Good. Now throw the freaking football.
Tua Olave. please.
There you go. Brandon Cooks, would you drop either Cooks or Marquise Brown for Dotson?
Yes, either.
I would not. I would Cooks, yeah, but I would prefer to have Marquise Brown. This was enough for me to see that I can hold him until Kyler comes back.
Would you trade Puka and Pierce for Derrick Henry?
Yeah. Go do it right now.
Would you pick up Love, Stafford, or Mayfield?
I would pick up Love.
I do not love any of them, but yeah, I agree.
Oh, look at this. Tony Jones in the game on 2nd and goal. Get a little. By the way, I'm watching on demand, like on Roku. So
yeah, you're about 2.5 plays behind.
Really?
I'll start betting you on. I'll start betting on what's going to happen next.
I'm gonna Olave nearly had a touchdown there. Man, why is this TV so far behind? It's crazy. Would you trade Hunter Henry and Khalil Herbert for Alvin Kamara?
Yep.
Yeah, we do that.
Almost Kamara time. One more week. Would you drop Zay Jones for Tank Dell?
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, it's 3rd and goal.
Nope, it's commercial. I'm watching the commercial.
Who's that? Jamal Williams?
No, that was Tony Jones.
On
the target at the goal line where he fell down?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I'm the same way, Adam. So I get it. I'm always streaming like a couple minutes behind. I'm never surprised. The updates come right through Twitter like this.
What kind of odds will you give me on him missing this field goal?
Oh, wow. Really? Did
No.
he shake the field goal? So listen, man, this, you know how much money this cost me? Because I should just cut the cord, right? I pay so much for cable, but I can't deal with this being 2 minutes behind thing. I can't do it. Like if I watch a game, I'm texting with my friends during a college football game, I can't be 2 minutes behind them. They're going to spoil every play for me. I have to spend. It's just terrible. It's what
I'm not watching it on cable. I'm watching it on my phone. So I don't know why you're just so far behind.
It must be this like
Oh, Tara, is Breece Hall a buy low? 4 touches, and then I don't know if you saw it or not, but he tweeted last night and then quickly deleted 4 footballs followed by ... And then he deleted it. So he was obviously not happy with his 4 touches. Are we buying low on Breece Hall?
Yes, we are. I think all of us, I bought into it too, in terms of looking at that week 1 performance and thinking like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And we just kind of forget like it was a 30% snap count and he was super efficient with it. But we're probably not going to see as many of those. So, we're going to take our lumps right now as they're, easing him in and working his way back up. And we could have some pop games like we did in week 1. But overall, I do want to have him for the back half of the season. So he's definitely a buy low for me right now if someone's panicking at the thought of like the entire season with Zach Wilson.
Well, another guy I think that somebody might have lost week 1 with Breece Hall on their bench, started him this week and lost because they started him, and they may be ready to just get him off spike him off their roster. So yes, go make some offers for Breece Hall. Adam, are you okay?
No, I'm really.
The calling doesn't work when you laugh. Like, I know. We got to get serious.
Tara, would you trade Jalen Hurts and Mike Evans for Justin Fields and Cooper Kupp? It's half PPR. He's 1-1. He wants to trade Hurts and Evans for Fields and Kupp.
I think it was kind of similar to one earlier. I can't leave that Hurts side because the confidence that I have in Fields right now it's not very high, unfortunately. The prospect of getting Kupp and he comes back and he's Kupp again is fantastic, but yeah, I would rather have that Hurts and Evans side, I think.
All right, we got to go. I got to fix my dial up. And we got to go watch a little more football. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Goodbye. I just have to go. Goodbye. Later.